Yeah, 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 yeah. I was sleeping, had to wake up. Why? Every reason I can think of. God, till the day I keep the ink up. And my priorities.
What's up, early risers? All my night owls, Adam Strain here. Thanks for tapping in. Before we dive in, just a quick heads up. This is for entertainment purposes only. Nothing here is meant to be taken as fact. It's just perspective, just vibes. As I always say, do your own research so you have no one to blame. Some of the content might be a little bit triggering. Probably not, but just in case, I'm issuing this trigger warning. Either way, I'm glad you're here and that you made it with us. The goal for this channel is very simple: to create a place where our ego takes a back seat and our ideas have a chance to breathe. So if you're down with that, you're in the right place. Without further ado, welcome to Adam Strain Reacts. Let's get her done.
Whoa.
Okay, so die halt in the No. Am Propeller kaputt? Ja.
Wow. Damn. How does this even happen? How is it even possible that you have, you're like outside, but then when you dig within, you find a building? I don't know. When was that? I'm very curious. Do you guys know where this was? I tried to find the location, but I never found it.
So the airports in Florida have been ordered to report any type of weather modification. Yeah, anything suspicious. Weather modification, aka weather control. This isn't a joke. This is true. In fact, the state of Florida has a law against weather modification. And the Attorney General there said today he wants that weather modification law enforced. So if weather control or weather modification isn't a real thing, why is there a law in the state of Florida banning it? And now the airports in the state of Florida can get into real trouble if they suspect anything is going on weather modification wise and they don't report it. So for all the people out there who've told me for years that this isn't a real thing, the state of Florida seems to think it's real. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made that law. And they wouldn't be telling airports to look out for anything strange in the weather. Okay, Booshkis, I just wanted to share this with you. Shabadoo!
Listen, am I dreaming?
Wow. I guess this is where me and people that say that there's a simulation kind of coincide, because I feel like there's just a natural form or a natural way for things to be created. They seem to follow like this certain pattern. So I suppose that if there is a rule to creation, it could sort of seem like a simulation, where because simulations always have rules and code, right? So I guess that's somewhere where we could overlap. I personally have a hard time to consider the idea that all of this is just fake or just a simulation. I have a hard time. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that it makes sense that there's a law to creation, that there's a law to the way that things come, like let's say Fibonacci or phi, or the way that things come? Or do you guys think that it's a simulation and that's why there's rules to it? Let me know down below.
Pieces of submarine cable picked up in the Gulf of Mexico in 1888. 1888, submarine cable. Did the submarine come around much faster or much earlier than we know? Because 1888 is pretty early. So that's an interesting one. And then you sit there and think about cables in the ocean. Well, the internet runs through cables in the ocean. We know this. We've studied this. The internet runs through cables in the ocean. It doesn't go up to satellites and all the sataballoons nonsense they tell us. It runs through the ocean. So if we think about that there's cables through the ocean in 1888, was the internet already here in 1888? And then it was sold to you in maybe about the 1970s and 80s. You can connect to your computer to the technology which was already present, because a lot of the stuff that was already present seems to be found and then sold to us later on.
So sad.
Every time.
Isn't it crazy how the United States used to be the world power, used to take care of basically the whole world in a way. And now it seems like they have a hard time to handle their own country, their own place. I find it super sad to see the state of these cities and the way they are. And in a parallel, if we compare the money that they're sending to Ukraine or to Israel or for any other cause for that matter, shouldn't we clean up our house before we try to help out others? I find it's a bit sad, the state of the United States at this moment. Do you guys agree? Or do you guys think this is just a natural progression?
We advance in technology, something bad happens right after that.
Watch this. New advancement in technology always precedes a pandemic. In 1986, we had the rollout of the alternating currents. And in 1989, we had the Russian flu. In 1917, we had the rollout of radio wave technology. And in 1917, we had the Spanish flu. In 1956, we had the rollout of remote TV controllers and atomic plants. And in 1957, we had the Asian flu. In 1981, we had the rollout of 1G internet technology. And in 1980, we had HIV. In 1992 was the rollout of 2G. And in 1992 was the influenza virus. 2001 to 2009 was the rollout of 3G internet technology. 2001 was the bird flu. 2009 to 2012 was the rollout of 4G internet technology. 2010 was the swine flu. And 2019 was the rollout of 5G internet technology.
And what happened after they rolled out 5G technology in 2019? What crazy virus broke out in 2020? Yeah, that one. As always, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay weird.
What do you guys think? Does that make sense? Is it possible that our advancements in technology change our environment so our antenna catches different signals and gets sick? Does that make sense? That all the waves in the air are affecting basically your being? Because if you look at the dates, it's pretty interesting how it would coincide with new technologies. Have you guys ever thought about this? Have you guys ever seen anything about this? Has this been debunked? Share it with me. Let me know what you guys think. I'm very curious because I find it's a very interesting idea. A new perspective, a new way to look at the infections and the pandemics with a new cause and effect lens. Let me know what you guys think down below.
Hashimoto, Managing Director and Chief of Research for the Fuji Electronic Industries, has constructed special instruments which translate the electrical output of plants into modulated sounds, giving voice to a cactus. Relying on her affinity for plants, Mrs. Hashimoto looks forward to actual conversation with her cactus. Convinced that it possesses an intelligence, she is determined to teach it the Japanese alphabet.
Research conducted in the Soviet Union leads scientists to believe that plants may think. Attached to delicate electronic instruments, a cabbage plant registers annoyance to the exhaling of tobacco smoke on its leaf surfaces. A scene familiar in any kitchen takes on special importance in this experiment.
Володя, переключи задание по всем параметрам. Тамара, бери препарат. Все готовы? Начинай.
In some mysterious way, the plant which is attached to the instrument is able to feel the mutilation of its comrade. In a more advanced experiment, technicians were asked to pass through a laboratory containing 2 living cabbage plants. One of the subjects has been instructed to destroy the plant which is not attached to the electronic instruments. Hours later, the technicians are asked to return to the scene of the crime. The evidence is clear. The remaining plant has correctly identified the assailant.
Ты должна быть сердитой.
Since 1959, the Academy of Sciences of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics has advanced research for the application of automation and cybernetics in plant husbandry. Connected to electronic instrumentation, these plants express their wishes directly, without the need of human guidance. In agricultural centers of the future, plants will show themselves to be fully rational beings, controlling their intake of water and nutrients, and even regulating the temperature and humidity of their environment. We're just beginning to understand the language of plants. It is a difficult and fascinating road wherein a multitude of surprises awaits us.
The secrets of magnesium that...
What do you guys think about that? Do you guys think that that whole... Obviously, it's from Russia. You know, we could take it with a grain of salt. But do you guys think that that has any basis of truth? Because they do say that trees communicate through the mycelial network on the bottom with the root systems, but these ones seem to be potted and can still recognize what's going on within the room. And if I'm not mistaken, there's another experiment that they did within that same exercise, which was the guy would think about going and get some matches to burn the plant. And just by the intention of going and get the matches, the plant already knew what was going on. What would that imply? What would that change? The fact that plants have, let's just say, a thinking capability. Does that change anything in our lives? Does that change the reality in which we live? Does that change the rules? Or it's just business as usual? Let me know what you guys think. I'm very curious to see your opinions.
They don't want you to know that we all need to know, and hopefully this will help some people out. Check this out. So magnesium is a mineral that our body desperately needs, and unfortunately around 70% of people are deficient in magnesium. And this is mainly due to poor diet, lack of knowledge, and dead and depleted soil. And magnesium deficiency is linked to so many common health issues. Take a look. And we are seeing so many people treat these issues by simply taking magnesium. Because we aren't deficient in pharmaceutical drugs, we're deficient in vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. And magnesium is vital in over 600 enzyme processes that without your body would not function at all. It's literally vital to life. Not only that, but magnesium's most important role is in energy creation in the trillions of cells that you have through ATP. Because ATP must be bound to a magnesium ion in order to be biologically active. Not only that, magnesium is used in 8 steps in vitamin D metabolism.
Goat's milk was given...
I don't know how accurate that stat is, but if 70% of us are deficient, I think we got to step our magnesium game up. What do you guys think? We don't hear much about it. I hear more about vitamin D, vitamin C, even B12 or D. You know, all of these, I rarely hear about magnesium supplementing. What do you guys think? Do you guys use any? Which one do you use? Which one's the best? Which one gives you the best results? Very curious.
To babies when they were in the hospital back in the day. This is because goat milk is super effective when it comes to healing the children and the women. This is because the goat milk contains certain compounds and minerals. It's actually the second most mineral dense alkaline drink on the planet next to your mother's breast milk. These minerals that basically fight against disease, helps to build the immune system, heal the red and the white blood cell count issue, apply the body with the proper fats, MCTs, triglycerides, the copper, the magnesium, the iron that the body needs. Truly, this is why, as well, Barbara O'Neill got kicked out of Australia, because she was recommending goat milk for mothers who were unable to breastfeed. Remember, what they're selling you as well at the store? That formula stuff is absolute garbage, and it's indoctrination. You need to get you some goat milk. RAW is going to be #1. Then you also want to get you some goat powder, even if it's pasteurized. It's still going to be a better quality and a better caliber. It's going to be an overall better quality for your child. If your formula has anything more than 1 ingredient, guess what? Don't use it, because it's whack. Because everybody else is jumping off the bridge, it doesn't mean that you should too. This is why we found you guys and sourced the cleanest goat powder I have found in my 30-year tenure. Everything that you need is going to be available at jacobslink.com, or hit the link in the bio instead. And remember to use salt with every glass of milk that you use, because you want to create a magnesium-dense environment, because we know that's the #2 deficiency on the planet. And that's why we made y'all the Health Bible. Get healthy, wealthy, and wise, and everything that you need in the link.
breathing with exhaust fumes.
Have you guys ever heard about taking goat milk as a health benefit? Because when you think about it, like he was saying, Barbara O'Neill, which is someone that has been trying to spread health awareness, she got kicked out of Australia. Also, Dr. Sebi got brought to court. He had a lot of problems. And the common denominator that I see between those two people seemed to be, first of all, that they helped a lot of people, or at least a lot of people swear by it. And second of all, that they were recommending goat milk for different reasons at different capacities. So recently I've gotten into trying it, and it's only been maybe a week or two. So I'll let you guys know once it's been maybe a month or two, once I know more or less the long-term effect. I'll let you guys know what I feel. Have you guys ever supplemented or tried that? Do you guys still drink milk? It's because I haven't been drinking milk for maybe the past 10 to 15 years. Once I realized that I don't know, that it's made for small cows to become big cows, I sort of disconnected from it. What about you guys? How has been your journey? Through this awakening process, we try to change our food, we try to change our health. What has been your process? Do you guys still drink milk? Goat milk? No milk? Let me know down below. I'm very curious what's working for you guys.
And the subtle undercurrent of
I'm a tourist.
state. Today in cities across the lie they sell is that Europe can survive.
In 1929, the Graf Zeppelin embarked on a famous 5,000-mile-long trip in a record-breaking 81 hours. Let's take a tour of its beautiful interior on its leg to Rio.
Continuing down the West African coast on our 5,000-mile trip to Rio, we fly close to a large liner and obtain magnificent views of her. We wonder what the passengers are thinking about with their air rival up above. How they must envy our speed as we rapidly overtake them. Life on board the Zeppelin passes swiftly and smoothly. We play cards and other games and watch the miles slip rapidly by. In the distance, we get a brief view of Cape Verde, but our 80 miles an hour gait soon leaves Africa behind. In the 110-ton Zepp are rest rooms and cabins, cozy and comfortable. And a particularly fine navigating room from which the whole ship is controlled. Writing and games soon bring us to the end of a perfect day, during which we have covered over 1,500 miles. The next morning, we were early astir, and shortly after breakfast was finished, we managed to get some unique shots of the interior of the hull of the Sky Giant, accompanying the captain on his tour of the airship. The power eggs, as they are called, each house a 550 horsepower engine, and these engines run unceasingly day and night. From below, however, one obtains a most impressive idea of the great size and power of the ship. Views which well repay all the trouble of getting them. But it isn't such an easy job getting in and out of the cars, especially with a camera, as we very quickly found out. And so we glide along, rolling down to Rio across the vast Atlantic.
Still radioactive?
How beautiful was that? If you compare nowadays the experience that we get when we take a plane compared to that, I would 100% rather take a bit more time, enjoy the views, enjoy the process, have space, get some rest, rather than be on a small plane where everyone's stuck together. So it's a very interesting fact that we were in the air way before. So we were traveling the air before the planes, and then they created this incident. So at the end of this flight, it crashed and it exploded. And from then on, they just said, okay, this is not safe anymore. Let's just stop. And then the plane came in maybe a few years later, which I guess was the idea, because from what I understand on one like this, maybe not the size that this one had, but you could fly for maybe a few hours on a few gallons of gas. So basically, it costs almost nothing. So if your goal was to have people be dependent on gasoline, of course, planes would make more sense. Why do you think we don't use Zeppelins anymore? Why do you guys think we don't use airships anymore? Is it because they're not safe, or is it because of the moolah? Let me know what you guys think down below.
Yeah, that's called residual radioactivity. Now, under the decontamination rules of the government, when you decontaminate somebody like this that's that contaminated, and this is certainly a reportable incident under current DOE regulations, when you decontaminate him, it has to go down a controlled drain so that you don't disperse radioactivity. Do I qualify as a controlled drain? That material that I just ate is not soluble in body fluids. Like it's been this. It was fired originally at 940 degrees C, where it becomes U3O8, known in the industry as HCl insoluble. In other words, it will not dissolve in concentrated hydrochloric acid, hot. Your stomach has 10th normal hydrochloric acid in it, so it won't even dissolve. The stuff is so fine that it has no texture to it. Doesn't even feel rough. So it's tasteless, odorless, has no texture. How's it supposed to hurt me? Because I've been eating this on lecture tour for 2 years, the state of Washington felt it necessary to confiscate my uranium samples so that I would be safe. Dr. Fulton from the Hanford Environmental Health Foundation called up and he says, "Hey, I heard one of your guys OD'd on uranium today, Galen." And we talked for a little while and he says, "Oh, that was you." And I says, "Listen, I can eat all that stuff I want." He says, "It'll ruin your kidneys." "How are your kidneys?" "They're fine." "Well, you should."
In this episode, we will discuss the
How is he eating uranium if it's that toxic? What about the radioactivity? Galen Windsor, from what I understand, was was in charge of the safety at one of these power plants, and would swim in the water, would eat it. So it's very interesting. What he's saying basically is that this whole idea that we have to deplete the uranium and then find a way to get it out, it's like a big protocol, and that all of that protocol does is cost money. So it makes it a super big industry to use and then get rid of it, because basically it's a forever thing, because they say that the half-life of uranium is like 10,000 years. So when they put it somewhere, they have to basically make sure that it's safe and put it deep and always check it, put water, all kinds of stuff. So what he's saying is that all of that was over-evaluated and overestimated. What do you guys think? Is uranium what they said it was? How come he's able to eat it? Let me know down below.
Bizarre World's Fairs exhibits that became defined as the incubator babies, which became a socio-cultural aspect of American society and mainland Europe from the 14th of July 1853 to the 26th of April 1895. When you look at historical narratives of Western science, you will discover that there are some huge events that have happened that are never discussed. One such event is called the Orphan Train Movement, which was a welfare program that transported over 250,000 children, with claims the number was actually over 540,000, on locomotive carriages from crowded urban areas in the eastern United States to foster homes in the Midwest United States. It was claimed that these infants had been orphaned, abandoned, abused, or were homeless, when actually these were new immigrants. So where did all these infants come from? At the same time as the orphan trains, you had something called the incubator babies. and these were displayed at the world fairs around the United States and first world countries. The bizarre incubator babies were exhibited at the World's Fair, called the Exhibition of the Industry of All Nations, at Bryant Park in New York City.
So if I'm a repetitive negative thinker or a repetitive positive thinker, does that alone change the shape of my brain?
Yes. Noelle Nelson, she was writing a book called The Power of Appreciation. She wanted me to scan her while she was appreciating her brain, and it looked beautiful. And I'm like, as I'm showing it to her, I'm like, you need to come back tomorrow and I want you to hate yourself. And she goes, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm like, come on, you have to suffer for science. And so we had a positive scan and then we had negative scan. And the negativity dropped her left temporal lobe, her left frontal lobe, and her cerebellum. It's a healthy brain and then a deactivated brain. And that explained to me athletic slumps. It's like, why do people get in athletic slumps? Because negativity turns off their cerebellum and they become just a little less coordinated. Interesting. And I'm not a fan of positive thinking. I'm a fan of accurate thinking with a positive spin. So positive thinking is I can have this third piece of cheesecake and it's not going to negatively impact my body or my brain.
During the fire, they were using TNT and cannon.
Wow. So you are what you believe and you are what you think. So do me a favor. Don't forget to love yourself every single day and try to find a reason to appreciate. Because if he's right and it rewires your brain, that in return changes the signals you send to your body, in turn changes the release of your glands, changes the environment of your body, and then your cells react differently. So in one way, shape, or form, changing this will change all the rest. Super interesting. You guys agree? Let me know down below.
To put out the fire. And they said that it was because they disrupted the water lines. That's what they said. Right. So they needed to use TNT. And you sit there and think, who on earth would use TNT to put out a fire? You know, doesn't make any sense. Unless you wanted to get rid of a lot of the things. And when you look at a lot of the pictures of the aftermath of San Francisco and that whole situation that occurred, you see that the buildings have all holes blown in them. Almost kind of like all the events we always see across the realm after an event happens. Certain things are burnt and gone, certain things are not. And all of those buildings, when you look at them, or the architecture, they all look exactly identical. So then you sit there and think, okay, so somebody was building the same up in Canada. They were building the same in San Francisco. This is like where it gets crazy. You see the same domes that are in San Francisco or the same domes that you see in Chicago. So then you sit there and think, okay, so somebody traveled all the way across, moved all the granite, assembled all of this. And San Francisco was a big one because San Francisco looked like something out of, you know, a movie for how beautiful it actually was.
And that's a wrap for today, familia. Whether you're tuning in with the sunrise or just posted up at midnight, I appreciate your time, your energy, your curiosity. Remember, this isn't about truth or fiction. It's about perspective. If this sparked a thought, a laugh, a deeper question, then we did our job. Drop your thoughts in a comment. Keep the convo alive. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell if you're riding the wave, because we're just getting started. Until next time, stay grounded, stay weird, stay critical. I am Adam Strain, and this has been Adam Strain Reacts. Peace!
I don't know what y'all think, but now it's time for us to link up. Really think we on the brink of making a change from living this strange.